Hey guys, welcome back to The New Critic, and today we're going to be looking at Season 2 of The Mandalorian. So in this season, The Mandalorian continues his journey across the galaxy to find a safe haven for Baby Yoda. Or should I call him Baby Yoda at this point? Nah, but if you haven't watched the season, I'll get to why exactly. If you've seen my review of Season 1 of The Mandalorian, you'll know I really enjoyed that season, and that being said, I found this to be even better. I mean, it still has problems, but it's great. I loved it. For the most part, I'm gonna try and stay spoiler free, but at some point in the video, I'm gonna go into spoilers. Here's the time on the screen, the starting time. That's when you should skip to this other time here. So, yeah, you've been warned. But anyway, let's get into it. So firstly, the premiere episode got the season off to a great start, and it was probably the longest episode to date. It was around 50 minutes. In that episode, the Mandalorian ran into a character by the name of Cobb Vanth, who's played by Timothy Olyphant, and I was really happy to see Timothy Olyphant in Star Wars because I think he's a very underrated actor. He starred in the 2007 adaptation of the Hitman video games. I think that's a very underrated video game adaptation, and just as a movie in general, very underappreciated. And he was also in Scream 2. And I do hope we get to see more of his character, probably around Season 3 or so. Some other characters from Season 1 make a return, such as Greef Karga, Cara Dune, Miggs Mayfield, Moff Gideon, and obviously Baby Yoda. And Baby Yoda had some really funny moments here and there, including this one scene where he was constantly eating something he wasn't supposed to be eating. If you've watched the show, you'll know what I'm talking about. Richard Brake, who I think is a very underrated and underappreciated actor, also had a role in this season. The production values, visual effects, top notch as always. The action was much better this time around, especially towards the latter half. The musical score is even better this time around and slightly more experimental. There's a lot of fan service, which I'm going to get into in the spoiler section. I also like the lineup of directors for this season. Aside from Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni returning, as well as Bryce Dallas Howard, there was also Robert Rodriguez, one of the best directors of all time in my opinion, Peyton Reed, who directed Ant-Man, and even Carl Weathers got a chance to direct an episode. But more on that later. A new droid faction was introduced in this season in the form of the Dark Troopers, and they were probably the most terrifying droids in the entire history of Star Wars so far. The season also laid the groundwork for other potential TV spin-offs in the Star Wars universe, and the finale was probably the best episode so far in the entire series, and we'll get to why in the spoilers. Now, this is your final warning. If you just want to jump straight into what I didn't like about this season, then skip to the time on the screen and you'll be fine. Let's get into spoilers. Don't say I didn't warn you. So, in terms of spoilers, Cobb Vanth, who is Timothy Olyphant's character, he was wearing Boba Fett's armor, and that took me by surprise because I was just expecting to see Boba again. But him showing up right at the end of the first episode, that was brilliant. I'm really happy that Tamura Morrison came back to reprise the role, even if it was just a voice role in the special editions of the original Star Wars trilogy. He's known mostly for playing Jango Fett, Boba Fett's father, and getting to finally see him put on the Boba Fett armor and even see it cleaned up at one point. I loved all of that. And of course, we got even bigger surprises in the form of Bo-Katan. For most people, it was a big surprise because she's a character on the Star Wars Rebels animated series, and she was played by Katie Sackhoff, who voiced the character in Star Wars Rebels. But for me, it was a surprise because I recognize Katie Sackhoff from Halloween Resurrection. Yeah, that wasn't a good Halloween movie, but still, it was nice to see her in something big for once. And let's not forget Rosario Dawson playing the first ever live-action incarnation of Ahsoka Tano. She is getting her own series, so that'll be interesting. Miggs Mayfield got a chance to redeem himself, and I think he had a great send-off. As for Baby Yoda's real name, Grogu sounded odd at first, but it grew on me over time, and I think people are willing to accept it now. And the finale had everything. It had great action, it had great music, it had the Dark Troopers in action, and of course it had Luke Skywalker as the icing on the cake. I know his face might look weird to some people, but I didn't mind it. I'm used to Disney de-aging certain actors and stuff like that. And, saying farewell to Grogu is kind of bittersweet. It needs to happen, but it also has me wondering, what's gonna happen to him in the gap between this and The Force Awakens? And I like the post-credits scene, which effectively sets up the Book of Boba Fett series. A series focusing entirely on Boba Fett. That'll be awesome. And my biggest question for Season 3 is, what are they gonna do now that the whole Grogu thing is out of the way? Well, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Now, my biggest issue is kind of the same issue I had with Season 1, and it's the fact that the pacing was kind of sluggish because the material was somewhat stretched thin. There's only one filler episode this time compared to Season 1, which had 2, but the overall momentum of the story is slightly better this time around. And there's a few other nitpicks. It's just technical aspects here and there, nothing major. Like in the episode that Robert Rodriguez directed, he used an odd camera lens for one or two shots during the action scenes, and it took me out of the experience a little bit. And of course there's the infamous jeans guy in the episode that Carl Weathers directed, who's now become an instant meme. Like, that's something that could have easily been removed in post-production, but how nobody noticed it is kind of baffling. But I'll give Carl Weathers a pass on this one because the episode, I think he did a great job with it as the director. So yeah, that was my review on Season 2 of The Mandalorian. Next time, I'm gonna be looking at my favorite movies of 2020. There weren't that many because of the pandemic, but the few that we got were, for the most part, fantastic. There were a few clunkers here and there. I might do a video on that, I don't know. But anyway guys, thanks for watching. Please be sure to like the video, share it and subscribe, and hit the notification icon. Be safe during this time, Merry Christmas, and I'll see you soon.